Did you struggle to get Morgan-Ra? Already worried about the next legendary event? Today we'll go over 5 steps that'll help you prepare for the amazing Tau ethereal warrior Aun'Shi. Hello everyone. The second Aun'Shi Legendary Event arrives on the 6th of August. With less than a month to go, we should already be thinking about what we can do to help maximize our chances. We're going to go through 5 steps to gaining Aun'Shi, and we'll be using my Legendary Event Google Sheet to help us. This will be linked below. The first thing I do is look at the 3 tracks, Alpha, Beta and Gamma, and break up the difficulty of each mission as follows. Less than 55 points is easy. 55 points to 90 points is medium. Greater than 90 points is hard. The difficulty refers to how many characters you can usually use in the event. For example, in the Alpha, we have the no physical 40 points mission. There are tons of different characters you can use, including some of the most powerful ones available. If we look at the max 2 hits 70 points mission, there are less choices overall, and that means you could struggle to put together a team. Finally, the 115 piercing mission is very specific and needs piercing characters, so you really need to look at them closely to see where your holes are. These are important ones to note down as we will look at them later. So in step 1, I break the missions up into categories and pay particular attention to the hard ones, as this is likely to be where the holes are in my team. The next important thing to do is to get to know the most powerful characters for legendary events. I would recommend you prioritize getting all these to Gold 1 rarity as soon as possible. Here are my top 3. Let me know in the comments below if you can think of any others who are important. One of the best is Angrax. His damage while standing next to spawns is incredible, and he can almost single-handedly bring you through a whole track. If you compare him with someone that boosts his damage like Magnus Calgar, Eldrion or similar characters, then he does even more. The next most important character for me is Isabella, but she comes with a team. If she has 2 of the following, Bellator, Aryak, Brother Butchard, or Calgar, and they have over 300 armor, then she can go and sit into a corner and heal them constantly until all enemies are dead. If you don't have Isabella, it's really quite impactful because Incisors can't keep up with the heals and is very expensive to level compared to others. I'll have a video on the differences of character leveling in the future. Third most important character for me is Aleph Null. Then when he is backed up with characters who have the mechanical or living metal traits like Boss Golgort, or if you're lucky enough to have them, Revas, then you can really push on through the tracks. Aleph Null keeping the heals going and using his scarabs for damage. So in step 2, prioritize getting some of the most powerful characters to Gold 1 as soon as possible. Next, you need to look at the Legendary Event Google Sheet and find common threads between as many of the missions in a track as possible. To start with, try and find 5 characters in the same track that can complete at least 2 or 3 missions together each. This is so you can minimize the number of tokens you use. You should be prioritizing the powerful characters we mentioned above, as well as your own characters who you already have upgraded to gold rarity. I usually try and have at least 3 gold characters in these teams, but obviously you want as many as possible. As an example, this is my teams from the Morgan-Ra event. All of the coloured ones were able to do multiple missions together. For Aun'Shi, this is my personal selection for the main teams. Now this will likely be different from your selection due to the range of characters you have available and your personal playstyle. That's okay, and it should be different. So in step 3, work out who are your main teams. Next, we want to work out how we can complete the remaining missions that we don't have a team for. If you remember back in step 1, we worked out which missions were the hard missions, and this is likely to be most of your gaps. Here, you will want to focus on getting characters to at least Silver 1 rarity. In the Aun'Shi event, the difficult ones for me are things like piercing and max 2 ranged hits in the Alpha track. Sometimes you will also see things like resilient, physical, max 1 hit, amongst others. With that in mind, let's look at the rest of my teams and you will see how I tried to fill the gaps as best I could. If you look closely, you'll see that I will try to focus on as few characters as possible overall, but even then it's still over 20 characters at gold or silver rarity. So, step 4 is simply fill in the gaps. Finally, in step 5, you should take all the information you've gathered and make yourself a leveling plan. If you like, you can use my character planner that will be linked below, as this helps you to work out how long characters will take to level, prioritize them, and then make sure that you can make it in time for the event starting. If not, then maybe you'll make it for the last Aun'Shi event when it comes round. So step 5, the final step, is make a plan and execute on it. But does this method work? Well, I started working on this after my first Morgan-Ra event where I got 50 shards. That was back when I just started playing and I didn't really know too much about what to do. It was also the second Morgan-Ra event overall and I knew I only had one more shot at it. At the start of the event, this was my team. Only 6 gold characters and everyone else I needed was silver. For my progress, this is where I was at the start. Green is the events I had completed, and blue were the ones I hadn't tried. After day 1, it looked like this, and I was already on 130 shards. Red were any missions I got stuck on. After 2 days, it looked like this, and I opened Morgan Ra. Just for visibility's sake though, I did get the extra bundle that gave you plus 15 shards for each set of shards you got, so this reduced the overall difficulty of it for sure, but I don't think I'll need to do that in future. At the end of the event, this was my final result, so it worked for me, and it can work for you. I hope this was useful to you, but if you have any questions or feedback for the video, then feel free to ask me below. Finally, if you have found this content useful, then you can use my referral code in-game to get 100 free blackstone, just like Aboquin027, Player 7751, Banki, Mavro, Kulos, Astri, Zabalba, Knight, Ducas Accidental, and Zandrate have done recently.